What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls podcast coming up right now. On today's show, it's NBA Draft Week, y'all. Plus, is Giannis going to be on a different team by the time the first team is on the clock tomorrow night? Could that have ripple effects for what else happens in round one of the NBA draft? And who are the ideal picks for the Bulls at numbers 4 and 15? We got big boards and the players we want. All going to be discussed next. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to CHGO Bulls, coming to you live from our Xfinity Loft here in the West Loop of downtown Chicago. CHGO Bulls Draft Week coverage is presented by Crown Royal. Thanks for joining us, Bulls Nation. Happy you're here with us. It is an exciting week. If you're hanging out in that YouTube chat, hit the like button. It's free, so is the subscribe button. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. My guys, Big Dave, Bow, B-A-W-L Sports, Will, the GOAT, Gottlieb, Will_Gottlieb. Check out his latest mock draft 3.0, available now, allchgo.com. And on the controls, the ones and twos, back from Italia, is Joey C. What up, Joey?
Buona giornata, everybody. I'm back for the NBA draft.
How many times did you do that in Italy? And please let the answer be 0.
What, buona giornata? It means have a great day.
In this way.
No, not like that.
But what came after?
No, not like that.
That's my point. Please tell me it was 0.
Bellagio. DiGiorno.
Walked in a pizza place. Hey, we got the pizza here for Joey.
I was keeping an eye on Joey's Instagram as well as his better half's Instagram. Shout out to her. Okay. And I was like, he might not come back. It looked like they were having a ball
that kind of
and a
time?
half.
That kind of time, Joey C?
It was fun. But I missed Chicago sports. Because I have a sickness.
You have a problem.
I'm happy to be back.
Yeah,
sickness and in health.
I was at a wedding this past weekend as well, and a bunch of people at that wedding who know what I do for a living were like trying to talk NBA draft with me, and I'm like, pause. No. Ask me on Wednesday.
Joey C, what was your favorite thing about Italy?
Legit. Obviously, traveling with my wife was great.
That's a married man, because that's the head of my head. I'm like, say your wife.
Being with family was good, but like legit, like you're walking down these like tiny little alleyways, and we did like a bar crawl, and she got a tattoo, and we were running around, and like
she got a tattoo.
Yeah, she got a tattoo in Italy.
Nice. And
we're just like in Rome, and honestly, you'll just run into something that's like 1,000 years old, a church just in the middle of nowhere, and you're just like, man, it's incredible. Could they have maybe spent some of the time feeding the poor more instead of making this amazing marble and all these wonderful sculptures? Maybe, but I'm not here to say.
That's the thing that should have been going on 1,000 years ago as well.
But it really is no hype. Like it's breathtaking. Some of the stuff there was pretty great.
Shout out.
We have a massive shout out Joey Spathis week ahead here at CHGO in all different kinds of ways and facets. Of course, NBA draft night 1 Tuesday, night 2 Wednesday. We will have live coverage for you here. Right here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel, CHGO Bulls, me, Big Dave, and Goat on set. At some point after the Bulls make their selections, Goat will head down the street, and there is media availability from new lead Bulls exec Bryson Graham. He will be there covering that. Then we still have watch party number 3 for World Cup USA action. Joe's on weed this Thursday after the draft is concluded. Shout out to our guy Alex Campbell, who's done a great job with World Cup coverage. He's got a show tomorrow afternoon recapping the USA win over Australia. Take that, Aussies! Plus, previewing Game 3 of the group stage against Turkey. We also have the NHL draft coming up on Friday and Saturday this week. CHGO Blackhawks crew live coverage on those nights. We have our CHGO and Big Brothers Big Sisters CHGO Scramble Golf outing at White Deer Run. That's happening on Friday. Plus, throughout the week, of course, consistently Cubs coverage, Sox coverage, and Bears coverage. What a week. What a week ahead. I'm stoked. Let's go.
Let's go, man. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm ready. Let's get it on. Let's get it in. I want to hear them say with the fourth pick, the Chicago Bulls select, and then just cut the brain off and then just bask in the excitement because I'll be excited with whatever name they say out of those top 4 names. I'm just ready for it, bro. I am.
Lot to be excited about. Before we dive into our big boards, all 3 of us named some names that we would love to have being selected and putting on Bulls hats tomorrow night. Before that, though, there's a lot of trade buzz that is related to what we could see happen in night 1 of the NBA draft tomorrow.
Okay.
The biggest domino of all, the 2021 NBA champion, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Up until this point, a franchise player for the Milwaukee Bucks, but could finally be that Giannis is on the move. This came from our guy, Mark Stein, via his Steinline Substack. Quote, league sources say that the Heat remain in full speed pursuit of Antetokounmpo, but also indicate that Boston have not yet abandoned hope of completing a trade for the Greek Freak. They are the 2 teams, sources say, that have engaged in the most advanced trade talks to date with the Bucks. Right after he dropped that report, Stein quote tweeted himself with an update that he got after he published it, saying the Celtics have not only emerged with, quote, a real shot to win the race for Giannis, would do so with a Jaylen Brown-centric offer, adding that Milwaukee has considered going ahead even without a third-team facilitator, which is the interesting part because that's maybe where some Bulls fans were thinking, we're not in a position right now to be one of the teams going after Giannis if he is finally going to have his long-awaited divorce with Milwaukee. But could they, or might they be interested in, becoming some sort of third-team facilitator in such a trade because they have all of this flexibility this offseason? And then the other big question along those lines is Boston or Miami, how does this affect who's picking where in the first round? And could that impact the Bulls?
I think it possibly could. I mean, the Heat have the 13th pick, and presumably that's going to be central to their offer. So a couple picks ahead of the Bulls at 15 could impact who's on the board if the Heat are picking versus if the Bucks are picking there. We also know, and Shams has come out a couple of times and said that this is likely to be a 2-team deal, meaning no third team involvement. The Bulls have a real opportunity to use their cap space to be a facilitator in 3-team deals. Reminder, if you are an apron team, you cannot take in more salary than you're sending out. So in order for both teams, especially with a lot of these, more expensive players, in order for both teams to send out more money than they're taking back in, they need a third team to be the dumping ground for some of that salary.
Okay.
And that team should be compensated fairly for taking on money. The Bulls can and should be one of those teams, alongside probably the Nets being the other example. So I think the Bulls are going to be not necessarily directly involved in the Giannis sweepstakes, but certainly indirectly. You're talking about him ending up in another Eastern Conference city. Bulls are going to have to play those teams. They're also going to be maybe in competition with the Bucks for not ending up in the relegation zone in the bottom 3 next year. So I think in a lot of ways it's indirectly tied. But it's 30-team league. That just tends to happen that way. But I don't necessarily think that it's going to impact the Bulls head on as it might if they were going to be that team that takes on, one of the salaries that the other teams don't want.
Yeah, I just laughed when you said dumping ground because I'm like, the Bulls are the 1-800 junk of the NBA right now.
Cars for kids.
You know what I mean? Right? You know what I mean? Like, we'll just take it all. Like, hand it over. We'll take it. Which is the right way it should be, which is kind of what you're saying here. At least I don't want to speak for you. But it just feels like, the Bulls should always be involved in something like this. Like, if the team is like, well, who's going to be a third team? They should always be like, hey, over here, guys. You got some picks. You got a big old salary you want to get rid of. We got the room, man. So, bring it all to us.
Give me your tired and your poor. And
your tired, poor, huddled masses.
And your bad salaries.
right on to the Chicago
Yearning
Bulls.
to no longer be a play-in tournament participant.
I mean, man, like, that's what it's all about, right? So they're in the right place to do it. I would want to continue to hopefully hear their name come up when another trade like this kind of happens, and it's another player that a team is trying to get off of or get rid of. Would love to hear the Bulls' name in that also, just because they have all the space and the room to take on some of these players and these contracts and hopefully get, maybe a draft pick out of that too. I wouldn't be mad at none of this, So it's a good time, how I look at it, from my perspective for the Bulls as far as when it comes to these trades and things like that. I'm okay with them being 1-800-JUNK. Bring your cars for kids on over, baby.
I think the other thing is just this is probably holding up a lot of business around the league.
Yes.
Waiting to see,
Yeah.
does this actually happen? Okay, we've been waiting on this for 1 year, maybe 2 years.
2 years, maybe 3.
It's we were joking before we started.
like Matt said, long-awaited divorce. You know
They
what I
said
mean?
like this is going to happen within 48 hours for the last 72 hours.
Right,
So
exactly.
presumably it's going to happen at some point here. And I think that will kind of open the floodgates for other deals to start, because while it does seem like it's down to 2 teams, okay, well, if the Heat strike out on Giannis, then maybe they turn towards, maybe they want Jaylen Brown. If Jaylen Brown ends up in Milwaukee, then they make another deal, and the Bucks can kind of have their cake and eat it too with both of the offers coming in.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's another team. So it's just, we're going to start to see a lot of action, I think, after this deal takes place, because this is going to be like the first domino to fall that shapes the offseason.
Sure.
Yeah, very interested to see what, if any, additional trades happen because a Giannis trade finally happens. And we've already seen some motion, over the weekend. Aaron Wiggins getting moved.
Right. That's true. To Atlanta.
I think a competent deal for both sides. Exciting piece for the up-and-coming Hawks team to add. And OKC takes care of some bookkeeping and
$150 million in luxury tax savings just by offloading.
Just by
Aaron
offloading
Wiggins.
a guy who is basically not in your playoff rotation, but could be a very solid piece for Atlanta.
$150 million for a $9 million salary.
Damn.
Some nice clerical work right there.
That's why teams don't want to go into the luxury tax right there.
No kidding. Other interesting trade gossip going around. This was The Athletic's John Krasinski, beat writer for the Minnesota Timberwolves. List of vets whom the Wolves have discussed this spring include Giannis, although that seems less likely now, Kyrie Irving, Trey Murphy III, Chicago Bulls Josh Giddey, and Derek White, as well as many more. Giddey is another intriguing name, Krasinski continued, especially given the Bulls' new regime that was not responsible for bringing him to Chicago. But the Wolves have not received indications that the Bulls are willing to deal him, at least for what Minnesota can offer, end quote. I know that you have seen, just as we have, the frequency in which Bulls fans throw Josh Giddey's name around in possible draft night trade scenarios, like especially if the Bulls and Bryson Graham want to trade up from 15. I have not seen that as a likely possibility when it comes to the Bulls and trading up from 15 tomorrow night, that Josh Giddey is involved in any of those trades. But it is interesting to see his name here as generating interest from a championship window kind of team.
I think the Wolves are in a particular situation. We just talked about it with the Thunder against the luxury tax, and particularly the second apron, where if they want to bring back Ayotusumu, they are going to have to cut salary in other ways. And their biggest need right now is a point guard that can take some of the ball handling and facilitation responsibility off of Anthony Edwards. And the key with that is to find somebody who's not a max player. And so Giddey, I think, just falls into that category. You look at the other names that you just listed. Obviously, they wanted Giannis. It seems like he's going to one of the other 2 teams.
Yeah.
Kyrie, I think, could be gettable, but he's making $40+ million. Trey Murphy, he's an incredible shooter, but he's not really a distributor. And then Derek White, I mean, are they really, the Celtics, if they go get Giannis, going to move off of Derek White? I kind of doubt it. So Giddey is not only, manageable contract number at $25 million, but he's also potentially one of the more gettable names on this list. And so it doesn't surprise me that they've sniffed around. I know a couple of reporters have mentioned him now. I think Scotto as well the other night. So I think it's certainly possible, but I also think it's kind of funny where, Bulls fans are like, get this guy off the roster, but then like they're like not interested at all in what the Timberwolves could trade because they don't have enough first round picks. So it's like you can't have both ways. You can't not value the guy, but also expect to get a ton back for him in a trade.
Right.
And that's the challenge with it, is that I think Giddey even still is probably more valuable to the Bulls than he would be to most other teams. And so are you willing to take a loss on the deal to get off of him? I don't necessarily think that's the best move because, one, you're not trying to be one of the worst 3 teams in the league next year, and Giddey helps you avoid that. But 2, I just don't think that teams are really going to be putting serious draft capital on the table in order to pry him away. And if that changes, then I think you definitely have that consideration. But as far as what the Wolves can offer, it's like they have future first-round picks really deep into the future. I think they just have 1 available to trade. They've got the 28th pick in this year's draft, Johan Berenger, who they've been very resistant to putting into packages. Is any of that enough to really move you? I don't know.
I'm not in a rush to get up off of him. I'm not against it, but that goes for anybody on the team. But I'm not like just gonna, like, oh no, we got to get rid of this guy. There's only one guy on this team I feel that way about. But we got to get rid of this guy. He's got to go. Like, I don't feel that way. Like, I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not willing to take a loss on this just to get Josh Giddey off the team. That doesn't make sense to me. So he still is here. I'm sure that if they find a deal that works for them well, great. And I also think it could be predicated on Josh Giddey and how he plays during the season. Because, again, I've said this already. I don't think any of this is going away. I said this weeks ago. None of this is going away as far as Josh Giddey's trade talk. When he starts playing and let him start playing well, trade talk will kick up. Like, those things won't change as long as he's here with the Chicago Bulls.
We got to knock out our first ad break. When we come back on the other side, we'll put a bow on this draft night trade talk and then start diving into our big boards on who we want on the board and whose names we want called for the Bulls at 4 and 15. Hit the like button. Thanks for hanging out with us, Bulls Nation. The like button is free.
Hey, Julia.
Spread the joy. We'll be right back.
5 years, guys. A lot can go down in 5 years. Joey can take a trip to Italy in 5 years. That can happen. Matt can hang out at weddings in 5 years. Matt might have a wedding in the next 5 years. Maybe. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But I guarantee you one way we're going to find out if it happens is through the internet. And we will have Xfinity Wi-Fi, and we will be happy with that because they got the 5-year price guarantee, ladies and gentlemen. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. That is Cinco. Best part, no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is also included. It's with it. Comes together right now over me. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
CHGO Bulls also brought to you by Sunnyside Dispensary, who is here to elevate your summer and your baseball season. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free shopping. With a crazy selection featuring over 100 different strains to choose from and new strains being added to their menus on a daily basis. They also offer easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you are in Illinois, Sunnyside has a spot for you, as far south as Champaign and as far north as South Beloit. So stop at the store nearest you for expert guidance from their friendly and knowledgeable staff. And this summer, take advantage of their Stash Pass, live now through Labor Day. Stash Pass is Sunnyside's rewards program that lets you earn rewards simply by visiting and making qualifying purchases. Every visit earns you a stamp, bringing you closer to your next reward. After every 4 visits, you'll unlock a reward on your 5th trip in advance of the next tier, with bigger rewards available as you progress throughout the summer. Head to their website for only the best under the sun, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Sunnyside Dispensary, only the best under the sun, only for 21 and older and Illinois Med Card holders. CHGO Bulls rolls along Monday afternoon. Thanks for being with us, Bulls Nation. Shout out to some of our regulars hanging out in the chat. Giggity here, Daddy Fish, Mr. Strick, our guy Paul. Shout out to Believer. Shout out to Julia. Hey, Julia. And everybody else hanging out with us. Thanks for being here. We are coming up on 24 hours away from night 1 of the NBA draft. The Bulls got 2 picks, y'all. The Bulls got 2 picks in the top 15. And then a couple of seconds. Woo. Shout out AK. Yes. All right, so before we move to our big boards, just kind of putting a bow on the trade talk. I'm curious kind of how you're reading the situation right now. There has been some talk that the Bulls are interested in trying to trade up from 15 because they might be trying to get one of those guards. Dave, you were talking with our pal Drew Stevens from the Bigs.
I was.
Shout out. Last Friday's episode, The Run. That, hey, if it were him, I'd be interested in trading up for a Dimara more so than a guard. Goat, do you think it is a realistic possibility that we're talking about, holy moly, Bryson Graham traded up tomorrow night?
I doubt it. Everything we've heard from Bryson Graham has been, we're at the ground floor. We're taking the patient approach. There just hasn't been any indication that he's really going to try to push things forward. And if I were him, I just don't know that I would be willing to do that for the players that are available. I know people are really high on some of these guards, and I think they have potential to be really good players. but I, at least in my evaluation, don't feel so strongly that I'd be willing to give up like an unprotected future pick. But that being said, if the price is right, I think you have to explore every single, opportunity. So I think I think it's very unlikely, but I think you explore it. I think what's probably more likely is, and we talked about this the other week when I examined the cost of trading up in the draft, is that there's been 16 trades up into the lottery or top 10 in the last 10 drafts, and Bryson Graham has been involved in 3 of them. In each of those, he has been on the trading down side. I think that's a much more likely potential outcome. But he also could just say, you know what, 15 is a great spot in the draft, 4 is a great spot in the draft. We're going to take 2 good players, and we're going to start to build around these 2. I think that's probably the most likely outcome.
It's the safest one, for sure. And I don't mean that negatively. That's the safest one because I think there's a lot of great talent you can find at 15 in this draft. There's a plethora of talent in this draft, man, whether you're going for the big man or you're going for the guard. Doesn't matter. Like, you can get something nice at 15 and just see where the chips fall. You could walk away with the guy that you wanted the entire time, just falling to you at 15. The only question is, what does Bryson Graham feel about a certain player? That's the only question, because if he feels a certain player that he really wants is going to get taken before 15, then you start to, question, is he going to trade up and make those moves or not? The only one that I have heard has been Wagler, and Wagler is, way up. You know what I mean? So it's going to take a lot if that's going to be the move to go up there and get that.
He could go as soon as 5.
Sure.
Yeah.
He could be out of here. So I don't really see it like that. But as far as moving up a few spots to get, somebody else or something like that, it's not impossible. It's not out of the realm. But I have no problem with them just staying at 15, playing it safe, and walking away with 2 really excellent ball players. I really don't.
Shout out to our guy Fish in the chat who said, it's deep. Somebody is going to be there at 15, meaning you don't need to trade up from that spot. You can get a good player at 15. I also firmly believe that. There are certain ways that I would like the board to fall more so than others.
Sure.
Like, we did a mock draft in a show between the 2 of us a couple weeks ago,
Flex.
and we were not thrilled with just randomly. It was just a random mock draft that we took player by player with what the board looked like at 15. And I think we took a swing on, high risk, high reward Quaintance in that mock draft because, high risk, high reward at that spot. But so I think it like you said, patient approach from Bryson Graham, and I think he feels confident that they can get a good player at 15. It's just a matter of who that will be.
I think they're not in a position right now to take that type of an acceleration move where
if you're talking about sacrificing future draft capital to do so.
And that's the assumption that I'm making here, is that that's what it would cost. Otherwise, I think you would have a lot more competition with other teams to get into that spot. So, it's certainly possible. I think based on the way that he's talked and wanting to keep a patient approach and wanting to evaluate things and looking at it as though it's like the ground. I mean, he said that like at every single press conference we've had so far. I just don't have any reason to believe that he's going to get excited and try to push some chips in. So, but you know what? Like, if somebody starts to fall outside of the like top 10 and into like the 11, 12 range, then the cost might be a little bit cheaper. Then I could see it becoming more of a possibility. And I think there's a real chance for that to happen right now. I just have a hard time believing you're going to see Wagler, Acuff, Brown, Flemings all go top 10. Just that the league is not valuing guards at that level right now. So if one of those guys starts to slip, maybe it becomes a different story. But I think that this is going to be a slower build, and they just can't be sacrificing future assets when you don't know what you have in the present yet.
For sure. Shout out to all 350 plus of you watching live with us here on Monday afternoon. You're all rock stars. Hit that like button. It's free. Joey wants your thumbs, y'all. He needs your thumbs. So before we talk about who we want to fall to 15, let's talk about who we want to fall to 4. I still firmly believe that this is a can't-miss situation from Bryson Graham, assuming that he doesn't get too crazy and select a player whose name is not Debanza, long shot, Peterson, Boozer, or Wilson.
Yeah.
But with that, there might be some differences of opinion of who Bulls fans want to be on the board at 4. I think a lot of Bulls fans have made it known that Caleb Wilson is their guy. I saw somebody in the chat just a moment ago talking about how I think Caleb Wilson just did confirm through NBA Draft Media Day that he has worked out for one team and one team only, and that is the Chicago Bulls.
Chicago Bulls.
Cameron Boozer, best player in college basketball last season. Could he somehow fall to 4? Could Peterson fall to 4 because Utah loves Boozer and, the Grizzlies fall in love with Caleb Wilson? Gentlemen, we all had our order of who we want to be on the board while also acknowledging that it's essentially an impossibility that A.J. DeBansa will still be on the board at 4.
Sure.
With that being the case, Boozer, Peterson, and Wilson. Joey, dealer's choice. Okay, me first. This is how I see it. And I say this while also acknowledging I will be happy, over the moon, when the Bulls draft any of these 3 players tomorrow night. If it were an ideal world, my preference for who is on the board at 4 would be Boozer, Peterson, Wilson. That does not mean I do not want Caleb Wilson.
Right.
If that's the pick tomorrow night, I'll be thrilled.
Yeah.
But if Boozer somehow falls, oh dear God.
Oh, dear God.
I will be stoked. I know some people don't believe in his game translating to the NBA for a variety of reasons, physicality this or low ceiling that. I've heard those takes. I don't see them that way. And Darryn Peterson, I get there is sort of a risk-reward situation with him.
Yes.
I don't know how much of it has been overblown versus how many of the concerns are warranted based on the way his season at Kansas went. But you cannot deny the raw ability that dude has. And consensus number 1 before all this stuff at Kansas happened. So that's my order. I don't know if you guys see it differently. Dave?
Slightly differently. But again, just what you said, whoever we get, I am completely with. All right? Doesn't matter to me. Whoever we walk away with, I am ecstatic.
Oh, I love this. It's totally different than mine.
Yeah. For me, it's only, I just went with, when we first got 4, the first name I said was Caleb Wilson. It was the very first name. So I'm like, well, fine. I'll just stand on what I've been saying the entire time. And it's Caleb Wilson. It just feels like it's Caleb Wilson to the Chicago Bulls. Work out for one team. One. And you're the guy who is consensus number 4, and you work out for one team? Come on. Like, I just feel like it's him. I just truly feel like it's him, man. Boozer, I put it too, because I feel like that's a realistic possibility of him actually falling to 4. I really do. I think it's a possibility. He can go anywhere from 1 to 4, but I think it's a possibility that he falls and he slides down there. So if I have to take a pick, I'd happily take Boozer, man. Like, oh my God, what a ridiculous front court you have with this guy who might be the most talented person in this draft at the age of 19 years old. All right? Like, that's exciting. And Darryn Peterson, for me, I mean, my God. Like, what can't he do? It's the fact that he can play defense with it, which I don't think gets talked about enough. But he could play defense as well with that. But I also, just to say it, feel like Darryn Peterson is going number 1. I think Darryn Peterson will be the first pick in the draft, and DeBansa is going to Utah. I've been saying DeBansa to Utah forever, and I just really believe that. And again, there's only one team that Darryn Peterson worked out for, and it was the Washington Wizards. I just believe he's going there. I just believe he's the number 1 pick, and that's what they'll choose with that. I feel like they have to have a guy who's ready-made, and he's ready-made on both ends of the floor. And DeBansa is super cold. I'm not saying that. But his defense is definitely questionable. But, dude, like, you can't go wrong either way. I just feel like DeBansa is going to be in Utah, and we're going to see Darryn Peterson be that guy for the Wizards. But, yeah, give me Caleb. I'm completely fine with that. I'll be ready for the celebration. Pop the balloon, pop the bottles. We're going to get it on.
Let me ask you this. Let's say the Bulls had jumped up to number 2, and AJ was gone.
AJ's
and the Bulls
gone.
are on the clock. Who are you
Right.
taking then?
I hate you, GOAT.
That's the purpose of this exercise.
I know. I can still tell him I hate him. Well, for me, immediately it becomes between Cam and Darryn Peterson.
Yeah.
Those immediately, that's what it is. And I would probably take Darryn Peterson.
DP.
Yeah. I probably would just say, give me Darryn Peterson, bro. Like, he's ready-made. I understand, and the issues that I have with him, again, have been off the court. And like you said, Matt, very correctly, you don't know how much of it has been overblown or not.
Right.
But those were issues, okay? They still were issues. But my God, like, there's nothing he really can't do on the floor. And he's ready immediately when he walks in. He is ready to go. And, yeah, I would go him. If I had the number 2 pick, I would take him.
And my next quick question would be, does Trae Young signing a $212 million extension tip the hand on maybe where the Wizards would go? And obviously that would lean towards Stebanza at that point because of the usage rate with Peterson, or do you think that they could coexist?
I know
Peterson.
Darryn has kind of said that he wants to be the point guard. I guess that's like what the big question I still have about him is like, I know he wants to do that. Can he really do that? He did that in high school.
Right.
I think that's like the hope, but I would have some questions there. I would, if I'm the Wizards, I'm not thinking about what is the fit of the team. I'm taking the best guy.
With that, let's knock out another ad break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get to Goat's big board for who he wants to fall to number 4. And then from there, we will move on and talk about ideal steals at pick 15. Hit that like button, Bulls Nation. Thanks for being here with us, near 400 of y'all. We appreciate it. The like button's free. It's waiting for you. We'll be right back. CHGO Bulls is brought to you by the Fanatics app. The Fanatics app is the all-in-one destination for every part of your sports fandom. You can get official gear for your favorite teams. Bulls? Bears? Hawks? Including the latest drops, exclusive releases, and must-have merch all in one place. Maybe you're looking forward to getting yourself a little Caleb Wilson Bulls jersey in a couple of days?
Wink, wink.
Could that be the one?
Hint, hint.
It's more than just shopping at Fanatics. You can play free daily games in the app to earn fan cash, which you can spend on, that's right, jerseys, also game tickets, collectibles, and more. Get notified about the latest trading card drops like Topps Chrome NFL, Cosmic Chrome Basketball, Topps Chrome Black Baseball, and more. Download the Fanatics app and start cashing in on your fandom today. Get it today at allchgo.com/fanatics. App access open to all 21 and older to play. No purchase necessary. U.S. only. Void where prohibited.
Let's get into your dreams. You know, you've got them. You love dreams. You're in a dream state right now. You're thinking about opening your own business. And you're like, oh, man, it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be cool. Wake up! Reality is here to hit you in the face. You need to make some money. If you're going to start that business, ladies and gentlemen, cold water on you. Spotify. That's what you need. Now you can go back into that dreamlike state because Spotify will take care of all the rest. They're an e-commerce platform behind millions and millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the United States of America. Shopify even powers the CHGO merch store. Kapow, kapoom, CHGO merch. They got you covered with website creation, product description, email, and social media marketing, and much, much more. And they even got AI tools designed to help you maximize your sales. So turn your big business idea into cold, hard, paper with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/all-today.
CHGO Bulls rolls along. Thanks for being here with us, Bulls Nation. Talking NBA draft, night 1, tomorrow night, and who we want to see fall to 4. Goat, that leaves you, sir. What's your ideal scenario tomorrow night? Who's the one at 4 as Silver walks to the podium?
I expect something crazy.
I went same as you, Matt. I went Boozer, Peterson, Wilson, assuming AJ goes number 1, which is I think going to be the case. Whether it's Utah trading up or not. As I think about these 4 guys in particular, but really any prospect, it's like, what do they need to do to succeed, and what does it look like if they succeed versus what happens if they don't succeed, or why are they not going to succeed?
Right.
And with Boozer, I think the reason why he wouldn't succeed is like if you just believe in the like pump fake, post up, like that's all he can do is just bully smaller guys, and that's not going to translate to the NBA. I think he's got so much more in his game than that. I think he's going to be like running point. I think he's going to be running pick and roll with a big or a small. I think he's going to get switches and dominate against smaller players. I think he's going to be able to shoot over screens. He's an incredible passer. You can play him in the high post. You can play him back to the basket. You can play him facing up. You can play him with the ball in his hands. Just an incredibly smart and sharp player. I think we'll be able to find advantages in the game. I don't think he's going to be a great defender, but I do think he knows where to be. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge to get the right players around him because you're going to need a rim protecting floor spacing big next to him, I think, which is not easy to find. But I think he gives you so much and so many different ways that it's easiest for me to find ways for him to succeed. With Peterson, I think like, how does he become the best player in this class? it's him turning into a point guard like we're talking about. It's him being like sort of this heliocentric 6'5", 6'6" guard who can really score it, who can really facilitate and pass, and who also defends. I think in high school he did that. We haven't seen it in a year, and like I think it could happen, but I think there are just more questions with that. And then Caleb, I think, obviously the athleticism is just incredible, and I certainly would not be, anything other than thrilled. I mean, just laughing to the bank to go get Caleb Wilson at 4. But he doesn't strike me as the kind of player who, if he really succeeds, is somebody who's like driving offense. I think he's more of an off-ball player, play finisher type, incredible athlete, great in transition. He is a really impressive passer. That was like something that really stood out to me in his game. And then obviously the defensive highlight tape in particular is just outstanding. He's got to get sharper. He's got to get bigger. And he's got to be just like a little bit more locked in on a play-to-play basis. I think he's going to be a really good player. Yeah. And I will be thrilled if he is the person that they end up taking. But I think there's a little bit more offensive creation upside with the other two. And that's why I would put him third. But it's so close. It really is.
No, that's a great point.
With that, we can now shift gears and talk about that pick 15 right at the back end of the lottery tomorrow night. Bryson Graham will be on the clock once again. And this is, I think, a more fascinating and expansive, could go any direction situation that the Bulls will be in. But as you said earlier, Goat, a good situation that Bryson will be in because odds are strong that they can get themselves a good player at this 15th pick. JoJo in the chat just now saying, pissed, don't waste pick 15. I don't know how anyone could know tomorrow night when pick 15 comes that they have wasted it. Like that just sounds like jumping to conclusions. Shout out Office Space. But I think that it's fair to have preferences of who you want to fall at 15. And I certainly have my list, but let's change things up. Let's go snake draft style and start with your list of players that you want to see draft falling to 15 to give Bryson Graham the opportunity to bring them on board.
All right, let's hit it. I think I started with the Michigan men, Adai Mara and Merez Johnson.
Bam.
And we can start there before we get into the other ones, which I think are a little bit more interesting, as you can see on your screen here.
Hey, I'm not familiar with a player named Trade Down. Yeah, well, what school did he play for?
It's Trade Down.
Trade
Down.
My guy.
I'll be happy to tell you all about him.
Trade.
No, I think like the NBA, in my opinion, is moving bigger. And I think you really need let me actually rewind. I think the most important thing in the NBA as it gets bigger is taking away the rim and scoring at the rim. The rim is the most valuable spot in the game of basketball. I know the three-point shot has become very important, and that is true. I think a lot of times that can help you get to the rim, right? Because you're spacing out the floor and creating those driving lanes. I think the rim is the most valuable piece of real estate on the hardwood. And to have somebody that can take away one side of that is tremendously valuable. So I'm a big fan of Adai Mara. I know a lot of people are not into the slower lumbering center, and I get that. I think he is an elite rim protector and rim deterrent. I think he's going to take away the paint for a lot of drives and make life very difficult, because if you think about like advantage creation, getting downhill, and all of a sudden there's a guy there that prevents you from being able to score, you can stay home a little bit more easily on the perimeter, and you don't have to scramble and get into rotation. That just makes life difficult in so many other ways. There's a discussion about him like not being the Wembanyama answer. I agree with that. I don't think like for me that's Merez Johnson. That's the guy you put on Wembanyama, and then you also have somebody to take away the rim. That's why I think they're such a good pair at Michigan. That's the type of lineup that I envision the Bulls succeeding with, is like maybe it's Caleb, maybe it's somebody like Merez, is you make them the kind of primary Victor defender. Not that the Bulls are really worried about competing in the NBA Finals and playing that chess match right now.
Dare you.
But then also having somebody that can really take away the rim. And then with Mara too, the passing is just unbelievable. I think he's going to be a very interesting piece that can make from the elbow, that can pass in the short roll, that can hit ahead passes in transition.
Yes.
He's also like, I think, a little bit more mobile and nimble than you'd think. He can get out into space a little bit and contest shooters. He was a really good lob catcher, like diving hard to the basket and finishing around the rim, and he's got really good touch. So I would take him as high as 5. I know that sounds crazy to some people, but I think his combination of touch and IQ and rim protection is just so rare. I just don't know if you're going to be able to survive with like a 6'10 center and a 6'9 power forward in the NBA anymore. I think you need someone who can really take away the rim, who's 7'2", 7'3", and who has a 9'9" standing reach. That's what Mara has. So I like him a lot. I like Merez Johnson too. I think he's just like tough and nasty and plays with an edge and plays physically. There's one thing that I think the Bulls had right over the last couple of years was this idea that you needed to play with more physicality. I think that's absolutely true, and I think Merez Johnson really embodies that. He's mobile. He's versatile. He's going to be able to defend in multiple different schemes. He is a little bit more raw offensively and not providing as much, but I do think that there are the outlines of a shot there, and I think he'll eventually be able to get to that a little bit more, but for me, he's kind of like just a meaner Wendell Carter. Like somebody plays with like a lot more edge and a lot more physicality, but has that similar type of frame and skill set where hopefully he's doing a little bit of facilitation. Hopefully he's spacing the floor out a little bit, but can switch, can guard bigger guys in the post, can step out on the perimeter. And I think he's somebody that will be able to do all those different things. I really like the pairing of those two, and obviously the Bulls don't have an opportunity to get both.
Right.
But I think that combination of players is really compelling to me, and that's why I had each of those guys as my top two. Can I just keep going? I know
you cooking, baby. You cooking.
Trade down. Trade.
My next choice was trading down. For me, I'm just looking at my board. I have Mara in my second tier right now. I have him 6th overall. I have Merez Johnson in my third tier, 11th overall. And then I have a tier from 13 to 23 where it's a bunch of the wings, it's a bunch of the guards, and then it's like some of the centers that I like a little bit less, Quaintance, Steinbach. And I think the Bulls are going to be towards the top of that group. If they can get an asset to move down to like 19, 20, 21, 22, I would feel much better about taking maybe a small step back in terms of the talent that they take with that pick, but much better about the fact that they'd be adding another asset. And that's why we talked about it with Bryson Graham trading down and that being his background. That's what I would be looking to do with that spot, because ultimately I think a lot of these guys are in the same category. We talk a lot about the small guards and just having a little bit of a harder time having an impact on the game. I think if you're talking about one of these smaller guards at 19 or 20, it is a lot more palatable to me than if you're talking about them at 14, 15, 16, which is where the Bulls are now. So if you can pick up another asset and get one of those guards, I'd be very happy with that. But if not, I think Dalen Swain is another great option there. Versatile wing who was a very good defender his first 2 years in college, took on way more ball handling and shot creation responsibilities, gets into the lane, gets to the paint. And again, we talked about taking away the rim. Getting to the rim on offense is just as important. And Swain really does that. 6'7" wing who can not shoot right now, but has a dribble pass skill set and somebody who can really defend. So that's kind of versatility I'd be looking for, thinking about the rim both on offense, getting there and putting pressure on it, and on defense, taking that away. So that's kind of the theme of who I'd be after. And if you can move back and still get somebody who can maybe impact the game on one of those levels, I'd be very happy with that.
So just quickly, Goat, people in the chat asking AJ Katz, what asset would make that trade down worth it for you? Go additional second, multiple seconds, trying to gauge what could be realistic. And Abe saying have to be careful trading down because there's a major drop off in the mid-20s. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it would have to be into that like early 20s range for me to feel great about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you look at the recent history of teams moving up in the draft. Last year, it cost the Pelicans a first-round pick to move up from 23 to 13. It cost the the Grizzlies a future first-round pick and 2 seconds to move from 16 to 11. So that's the kind of return I'd be looking for from 15. Maybe not quite that much, but can you get a first-round pick to move down 8 or 9 spots and still be in the mid or early 20s? I think that's what I'd be looking for. If it's not there, though, I'd be very happy to take Swain.
Yeah, makes sense. I dig it, Goat. I dig it. Smart as usual, intelligent as usual.
You dig it? Yeah, I mean, like I'm high on both of those Michigan guys as well.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you be? Like, just incredible talents, man, and both of them really smart. You know what I mean? I love the IQ on both those guys when they play together. I think both your points of wanting that big man to be next to that guy to bring the best out of him is definitely on point and absolutely correct. But I think they can both survive without each other. But that definitely brings the best out of them, which is absolutely right.
You know, when you're talking about the Bulls at 15, obviously a new, as of today, fascinating factor, Dallas at 9.
Yeah.
When you're talking about these 3 Michigan players that were the core of that championship team. I mean, what is the likelihood that one of those guys is going off the board at 9?
Yeah.
Because the new Mavericks coach says, hey, buddy, you're sticking with me.
That would be intriguing.
And the order in which those guys go.
And also what make it intriguing, it would let you know exactly, we're about to trade one of our big men.
Right.
Like Gafford, I'm looking at you. Like, we're definitely going to be trading one of our big guys if we're going to go get Mara or Yaxel or Morez at 9. Somebody's going to go.
Yeah.
Like, really, seriously.
Before we take our final break, quickly do you think most likely is Mara, Johnson, and then Yaxel as far as the order in which the Michigan guys go off the board? Ooh.
That's a great question.
That's kind of how I see it right now.
That's the order in which I have them ranked, so I'll go with yes.
Yes. I love that Mara was at the top of your list there, and I think it's a long shot that he is on the board at 15.
Correct.
Agreed.
Mid to late lottery, maybe even top.
But if
10.
he's there at like 11, 12, that's somebody where I don't think the cost would be tremendous, and I would consider moving up.
Okay.
Well, if Giannis goes to the Heat at like 13, they're not going to be that interested in maybe a big, or maybe they won't. And
Depends on what they give up.
Yeah, it
trade
depends.
too. You know what I mean? Who they lose.
Stupid Pat Riley. All right, we got to knock out our last ad break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll get to some of the names that Dave and I want on the board at 15, putting on Bulls caps. Hit the like button, Bulls Nation. We appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Almost 450 of y'all watching live with us on a Monday. Screw work. Let's talk draft.
Talk
we'll be right
draft,
back.
man.
CHGO Bulls is brought to you by Bet365. Everybody loves spending a full 9 at the ballpark in the summer season, but we get it. There's 81 home games if you're a Cubs fan or a Sox fan, and you got places to be, whether you're trying to beat the Dan Ryan traffic or those Clark Street bar lines. Sometimes getting out of that game a little early is the right move. Doesn't mean you can't still cash in. That's why Bet365 is offering their 5-run early payout. Whenever the team you're riding, for Joey, that would be the Cubs, goes up by 5 runs, come on, Cubs. At any point in the game, they'll pay your bet out right then and there. It's as simple as that. They can't stop bullpens from ruining your day, but they can help them from ruining your bets. So be sure to download that Bet365 app with promo code CHGO365 when you sign up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over only. Must be physically located in Illinois. Terms and conditions apply.
And big shout out to my main man, Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram. And this is your chance to score a great deal at the Make This the Summer event. Head to Ray CDJ on Route 12 and choose from their huge inventory of Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram models. And right now, get up to $14,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% financing for 72 months on the new 2026 Ram 1500 Crew Cab. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under, you heard what I said, under $20,000. That friendly team of brand experts at Ray CDJR are here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. And of course, they got that race price promise, y'all, so you can shop confidently, no add-ons, no hidden fees, ever. Price you see, price you pay. That's how they do it in any month you got. Don't miss out on the Make This the Summer event for huge savings on the Ram 1500 Crew Cab. For more information, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community.
CHGO Bulls rolling along. Thanks for hanging out with us, Bulls Nation. We are getting close to that NBA draft. Dave.
Tinglies.
You're bored.
Yeah.
For pick 15. Actually, before you get to that, just a quick reminder again, people in the chat talking about it. Yes, we will be live for coverage of the first round of the NBA draft tomorrow night right here on the CHGO Sports YouTube channel. Draft Day Live, sponsored by our friends at Crown Royal, starting at 7 p.m. Central Time. Also scheduled start time of the NBA draft. There will probably be a little bit of talkie-talkie from their crew before that first team goes on the clock. So hope to see y'all hanging out with us here on this channel tomorrow night.
Oh,
Big Dave.
Goat Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait to unwrap those packages with him and just see the joy on his face. It's going to be good stuff. Yeah, let's get to mine. Let's see what I was talking about, and I'm sure it was nonsense. Morez Johnson Jr. is who I want, pretty much, ladies and gentlemen. That's really what it boils down to for me. Goat is correct in saying, like, as far as the big man, you want the center, you want the big guy there, and it's going away from that smaller kind of player. But I think there's always room for a guy who just is incredibly talented. It's going to always be a spot in the space for him. Like, I think of Ben Wallace immediately. Like, centers have always been the thing in the NBA. It's always been the thing. But there was always that room for that guy. Think of Dennis, even though Dennis Rodman wasn't a center, but he was guarding him. You know what I mean? You think of that. You think of Barkley. Like, there's always some room for just incredible talent and high IQ players at that position. And Morez Johnson Jr. is that for me. Just that high IQ defender who makes life simple. And then selfishly, I just want to see Essengay, Modest, and Johnson and Morez just out there on the floor running all day long. Like, I want to watch that all the time. He will remove thinking for certain guys on defense. He will make up for mistakes on certain guys. He can guard 1 through 5 out there. And so for me, that's my center. That's what I look at, and that's what I would absolutely roll with. You make the comparison to Wendell Carter Jr., which is awesome. Like, he's not known for his offense. Morez isn't, but he still will walk away with a double-double on you. How do you do that? That means I'm skilled. That means I got a high IQ. I know how to do certain things around the rim, well, on either side of the basket. So for me, he's my guy. Like, he's a complete kind of player that I want for the Chicago Bulls team. And, of course, you got to tap into that fire. You got to tap into that meathead stuff. And he's about that life right there. So thinking of that with a Caleb Wilson and a Morez Johnson Jr. with a Modest, oh, my goodness, yes. Turn that on every single day and just enjoy basketball is what I would do. So I love that. The only reason I don't have Mara, too, because I honestly think he'll be gone. But I love Okori. I do. I just truly, truly love Okori, man. Like, the length and that man has, the athleticism that he has, the handles that he plays with. I love, like, his finishing needs to improve, obviously, at the rim, but it's the way he gets to the rim, guys. Like, as Ricky said, probably the quickest first step of anybody out here in the draft. Like, his first step is just ridiculous. And we saw what first steps do. And I'm talking about Zach LaVine, because I consistently said Zach LaVine had a top 3 quickest first step in the league. And you saw what it can do for somebody who just doesn't even have the handles like that or anything like that. Can you get to the rim? You know, that is the key. And he is smart enough to get to the rim and draw that foul and figure out how to score. Like, his, again, high IQ guy. I just really believe in him and his talent and his skill. And he's built like a freak, man. Like, you 6'2" with, like, your arms are, like, down here to your knees. Like, and you got that speed with it. Like, I just really love his game. I really do. And he can score the ball. Obviously, you saw the stats that he put up at Stanford. Again, things to work on for sure. But I just really, really am high on him. Who else did I have, Joey C?
Yaxel.
Mara. Oh, Yaxel, yes. You just take Yaxel. He's there. You take Yaxel. All right? Like, he's there.
You're not concerned about the Yaxel age not fitting the Bulls timeline thing, which some people also bring up with Cameron Carr, who will basically, by the way, be 22 that by the time the season starts, his rookie year.
Yeah, as you can see from my two guys, like, it doesn't bother me at all. Again, I'm sincerely thinking best kind of guys available. And that's what I'm looking at. Like, everything is going to come pretty and packaged. Like, some guys are going to be older, some guys are going to be younger. Like, can you play? Like, what's your talent? Are you the most talented guy there? And I think Yaxel is absolutely that. He's an incredible talent, man. And it's going to be hard for me to just pass up on that simply because of age. And that is not how I look at it or see it like that. Again, the Bulls are in no position to be picky. Like, if that's there, then you go ahead and you take that. And I feel the same way about Carr. Like, he's just a freak to me. And it's hard for me to see anything like him. Like, when I first looked at him, man, I was shocked he was a guard.
Yeah.
Like, I thought he was a big man. But no, he's not. And a great rebounder, can get to the rim, you know, the length, the athleticism, and again, the fire. Like, y'all know that's what I like in my players, and, you know, especially the young guys who have that. So, yeah, I'm not worried about the age, man. It never bothers me or concerns me about that. It might give me pause sometimes if you tell me you're 24. I might do that, but the talent will always win in the end for me, and I would have no problem going with him. But, yeah, I am all in on Morez Johnson Jr., though, man. Like, I think that's the guy.
They just need like someone. You can't have a starting lineup where like nobody is heavier than 210 pounds. Like Merez would just give you some like beef in the middle.
Yeah.
And they just
You need it.
strength.
Yeah.
So I like that one a lot. But that's kind of the question I have about Carr too. Is like he's very thin. I think he's like maybe the lowest weight at the entire combine this year. No,
Coming to the right city.
Bottom couple though, 184 at 6'5".
Yeah.
But obviously, yeah, the athleticism, the speed, the shooting is like really good. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I think there's a big tier here where like you can get a good player depending on what it is that you're looking for. Whether it's a guard like a Corey who can really put pressure on the rim, whether it's a floor spacer athlete like Carr who can really play off of guys, or someone in the middle. Like, you're going to get a guy, but could you also get a guy at 19 in the same?
Right.
One of those guys maybe falls there, and then you get another pick. So that's kind of my thinking, but I do agree that like all these guys have something real to offer.
Like Okogie might be there later. You know what I mean? Like he's not being predicted to. I haven't seen him mocked in the late 20s.
Corey?
Yes.
I do
I've
also
seen him-
think he has potential to be one of the biggest risers on
Correct.
draft night,
Absolutely true.
compared to Mox.
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
But that's why I was like, yeah, if he's there, I would absolutely go after him and take him. But yeah, and shout out to Drew, because Drew definitely talked me into Mara, without a doubt. Just hearing his breakdown and everything he said, I was like, okay, all right, I'm with this.
Yeah, I just want to toss in really quick. I see a lot of people in the chat like freaking out about his age, and I totally understand that. And they're saying that he's not a 24-year-old is not in the stage that the Bulls are in
The
right
person
now.
you're talking about.
The people in the chat. I don't know. That's like 5 or 6.
No,
different.
you said his
Oh,
age.
Yaxel
Yeah,
at 24.
yeah,
Yaxel
24-year-old
specifically at
rookie.
24.
Yeah.
The only thing that I will say about that though is that the driving focus of this also has to be, Big Dave, to your point, of getting good players on your team.
Yeah.
Those things can also be considered assets, right? Like, if the Bulls want to be good in a couple of years, if Yaxel Lendenborg is a finished product and he's really good at 26 years old, he can be packaged in something that brings in another great player. You need good players on your team, so you have to trust your scouting on that. So I'm kind of with you. I don't know if I would freak out if he was at 24, because not all these guys that get drafted end up on the Bulls for their whole career. That's not how the NBA works.
Yeah.
So if he's a good player, and maybe he doesn't fit the timeline, if he's a great player at 26, maybe he's a part of the 1, 2, 3 player package that brings in somebody that's awesome. You never know. Like, you know what I mean?
You don't know. I mean, we've seen a bunch of bad players come in at the age of 19, okay, and just not work out. You don't know. There's players that came in and were killing at the age of 22. Cedric Howard. I mean, you just don't know. But you go get the talent, guys. That's what it's about. I'm not going to look at Jay and say, "Hell no, well, you can't be good, or you're only going to be good for this amount of time because this is what this said." No, that's not how this works. You know, you go get whatever's better and you roll with that talent and you move on. And the Bulls, again, are in no position at all to be picky at all. You take talent.
Just to shout out and quickly address, we got a super chat, DJV in the chat asking with the super chat, is there an in-person draft viewing party you know of? So the Bulls always host a draft party for fans. I think like ticket required. I don't know of any other specifics. We, considered it, but decided that what we really wanted is to give our fellow Bulls fans the best show possible, and that is much more manageable to do when we are here at home base as opposed to doing those remote shows, which a lot goes into those. But honestly, what I would do, hit up our friend Miss Melissa on Twitter. Ask her where she's going. Because I'm guessing if there's somebody who knows about Bulls fan draft watch parties tomorrow night, that's the queen there.
Safe bet.
Okay, so, and then just to get to mine, there is some overlap, so we don't need to harp on those, but a couple of other names that aren't on y'all's boards, but I do still have the Michigan guys at the top of my ideal at 15 with Mara and Morez Johnson at 1 and 2. I did also throw Cameron Carr down there at 5. I do, I have some questions about not only offensively what he's bringing to the table right out of the gate, but as you pointed out, and I think fairly so in your 5-minute breakdown of him on those draft profiles, there are a lot of like theoretical and philosophical reasons to be excited about Cameron Carr's NBA potential as like a defensive ace player, but they are very much not in form right now. And that combined with being a bit on the older side, obviously he turned heads with his performance in the draft combine scrimmage and with those measurables. I get it. It's not the home run pick the way I'm looking at it that some Bulls fans I see. A lot of Bulls fans over the last couple of weeks have been like Caleb Wilson, Cameron Carr. Give me those two, A++. I won't be upset if they take Cameron Carr. I put him on my board because I like some of those raw, attributes that he will bring into the NBA. He's not as high as I had him during the week of the combine when I took a closer look.
Fair.
And then the other two names there, and he doesn't necessarily fit into my agreement with the trend that bigger is better in the NBA right now and all these teams with all this size. But in the interest of the Bulls maybe going with a point guard at that pick 15 and who could still be on the board after a big run of guards in that mid-lottery, I really like LeBaron Filan, man. Like the more tape of his that I've watched, incredible season with Alabama. He averaged 22 and 5.
Yeah.
Just like ran that program's offense. Very sharp handles. Good quick shot. He can get to the basket despite his lack of size. That's the one big red flag people point to with him. You were talking about Cameron Carr being undersized weight-wise. I mean, 176 is just very, very light when you're talking about NBA players. He could absolutely add some tone and a little bit of weight to that frame. But, man, I love a lot of his offensive package. And he, I think, also has some solid defensive upside. And then as far as that mid-tier of guards, I like him the most. He also, just shy of 6'4". So he does have some size at that point guard position. And then the other one. Do we go to OT, Joey? Should we go to OT?
Yeah, let's hit that.
Let's go to overtime because we're going to talk a little bit more. If you're watching on one of our streaming partners and you want that bonus coverage from today's show, just go to allchgo.com. Right. Any thoughts from either of you guys on Filan before we move on?
I would just say I read a report, I'm forgetting where it was from last night, that the Bulls had a couple of the guards in for workouts. Filan was in there. Christian Anderson, who we haven't talked about yet, who I think is really interesting. Probably the best shooter in the class and maybe the best passer also, but 6'1", very small, point guard from Texas Tech. And then Malik Thomas, who was the off guard who played next to Darius Acuff at Arkansas. I think that the Bulls have definitely, I don't know if they're going to take a guard like that, but I've heard that those guys have been in there, and that could be something that's on their radar. So, I think they're just very much a blank canvas right now. And just like whoever Bryson Graham thinks is the best talent available is, I think, what he'll go with. The challenge there is, can you get the most out of this talent with the group that you have or with the roster that's around them? Or are there limitations, be it physical limitations in terms of their height or weight or strength, or, maybe it's their speed in Mara's case or something like that. Are they going to be able to play where their talent can actually be put on display? That's the question with when you get down to this point in the draft. They clearly have a lot of strengths that you're hoping that you can hit on, but there's also real weaknesses there, and weaknesses may be strong, but just like limitations to their game, areas of improvement, question marks about them, that you're hoping you can hit on. And so it's just about how can you get the most out of the talent. I think that's a big question too.
Yeah, like LeBaron. Shout out Cracks to LeBaron's, by the way. LeBaron, incredibly skilled guard. Seriously. When I think of the weaknesses, I don't even think they're weakness, but when I think of the weaknesses on him, they all have to do with defense. When I think of him, and it starts with the size. Like, he's going to get attacked.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah.
Like, you can't small and not win much. They're coming at you. That's just the case. But on the offensive side, like, there's a lot of upside for that young man. But he's also a below the rim kind of guy too. Not that freak kind of athlete who is at 6'2".
Yeah.
But still like a 3-level scorer for sure. And he can be an absolute problem and knows how to run a team. Like, he's a really good combo guard. So running that point or running the two, you think of guys like Tyus Jones. When I think of, Tyus obviously more advanced defensively than he is. But you think of those guards finding their kind of way. So it's more of the IQ on him. And I'm saying I don't know it. And I'm saying I would have to research and find that out first if I would be over the moon with it. But I'm just going to roll with you, Matt, and trust what you're saying about the young man.
The one quick thing I'll add on the guards in general is, like, Trey Jones is a great example of, like, a small guard who has found a way to really carve out a role for himself and be a very productive player. I think he was one of the best players in the Bulls last year.
Yes.
The reason why he's so good is because he's so physical. He is relentless getting into the paint. He's not afraid of contact.
Very physical.
And that's what all these guys are going to need. That's why I like Okori, because I think he really plays with physicality and he's downhill. Filan a little bit less, but still, I mean, like, that's the challenge for these guys is, can you play with physicality and get to the rim? Because if you're not doing that, then you're just taking a bunch of tough shots off the dribble, and that's just a tough way to make a living.
It is.
And then just to round it out, the other name I wanted to touch on who did make my list for that 15 overall pick is the big man from Washington, Hans Steinbach. Look, I know a lot of people have differing opinions on him. I am in on him.
Okay.
I think he does so many things well, did so many things well for Washington with a guy of his size. He runs the floor very well. He is a willing runner. We'll see, depending on, Thiago Splitter and this Bulls team, are they going to try and get up and down the floor as quickly as they were in the last, year plus of the Billy Donovan era? Right. It'll be based on their roster, as Thiago Splitter told us himself in his introductory press conference.
Yes.
But he runs the floor very well as a big man. He can set good screens. He can run pick and roll, pick and pop. He absolutely projects to be somebody who can space the floor as a big, more so than, say, Morez Johnson Jr., who, for all of his various upsides, can't hit the broadside of a barn from behind three-point line now.
No.
Plays above the rim. And what else did we hear about Thiago Splitter when he was talking about the work he did with Portland last year? Hey, yeah, we took a lot of threes. We didn't hit a bunch, but crashed the offensive boards real well. Steinbach proved to be a monster on both ends of the glass for Washington, something you always need, something I always appreciate. I think there's a lot of upside with this dude. And because he has already shown willingness and ability to hit that outside shot, for a big man, he already has, I think, pretty respectable handles when he puts the ball on the floor, and he's got a killer pump fake. Yeah. Like, there's so many parts of his game that I watch offensively that I'm like, yep, like that, yep, like that, yep, like that. And so the combination and idea of combining him, any of these guys with size that we're talking about, with Modest and Caleb, if Caleb's a pick at 4, there's just a lot to like there, I think.
Yeah, I like Steinbach. I think he's an incredible rebounder on both sides, and that the possession game is huge. So I think that's a huge value add for him. I think he's going to be able to face up and put the ball on the deck and get to the rim. Doesn't really have like a great jump shot right now. He made a decent percentage of them. I think he was like 35% from 3, but just very low volume. I believe that he's going to be able to extend that into his game and become more of a shooter. The big question I just have is, like, can he protect the rim? Very low block percentage last year. And you know what? So did Morez. Morez was 4.8 block percentage. Steinbach was 3.9. So a little bit worse, but also Morez was playing next to another giant in a Daimara. So are you going to be able to rely on him to anchor your defense? I don't know. Maybe he's a 4, but then what does that mean for Modest and Caleb? Are you pushing them down? And then you still got to find a center. So it's a little bit of a tricky fit, but who cares about fit? Like, the Bulls need talent, and he's certainly got that. So he's another guy that's in that same tier. All the guys we just talked about in that same tier for me. Right. And that's why it's like, okay, if you can get one of them at 19 and also another first-round pick, like, cool. Probably do that. Probably do that.
Which is why I wanted to, it's not like if those are the only 5 players I'll be happy about the Bulls drafting at 15. There are other players that didn't make my list that I like, but I wanted to include at least one point guard, a wing, and then some bigs, because to me, that's what pick 15 is all about for Bryson Graham tomorrow night. Yeah. Whoever is on that board, if you are intent on keeping and using pick 15 to add to your young roster and your rebuild, best player available. That's it. I do not care what position they play. I do not care if you have Modest and you have Caleb, and it's not like a true center, but you're thinking about taking another power forward or another combo forward at 15 because you think that they're the best player on the board, but you're worried about fit. Screw fit.
Screw it.
Draft that player.
Do it.
That's how I feel.
Talent, guys. Talent.
Can we get some? Can we have some, please?
Would like a lot of talent.
Talent, please.
Talent,
please.
Talent, please.
Talent, please. I would like some talent. Oh, we are short on that around here.
Just give it up.
Hopefully not for long.
Not for long, baby. And tomorrow.
That'll do it for today. We will be back tomorrow. Live draft coverage here on CHGO Bulls. We will be live for the entirety of draft night 1.
I hate to interrupt your wrap up, but before you guys go, each of you, who are the Bulls taking it for?
Caleb Wilson.
Caleb Wilson.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going Darryn Peterson.
All right.
Joey, somebody I saw was asking for a hot take earlier in the chat. There you go.
From way downtown.
Darryn Peterson, come on down.
From Rome.
I think of all possibilities, other than Caleb Wilson is a Chicago Bull at 4, that is the next most likely. Agreed. I think, Joey.
AJ goes first. Boozer goes to Utah, and then Memphis can't say no. They take Caleb, and then Darryn Peterson goes to Chicago.
And the Bulls take Darryn. I think that's the second most likely outcome.
I'll take it.
We will be back tomorrow. 7 p.m. Central is when we will go live along with NBA Draft Night 1. We will be live for the entirety of Round 1. And then perhaps more coverage on the heels of that after we hear from Bryson Graham, TBD on that. In the meantime, go check out Goat's Mock Draft 3.0, available now, allchgo.com. Go also check out his draft profile, still available to watch for free on that All City, All NBA YouTube channel. A playlist of their own for all of these projected lottery picks tomorrow night. 5 minutes or less. Scouting reports. They are incredible stuff.
They are good.
Follow him, Will_Gottlieb. Big Dave is at Bow, BWL Sports. I'm Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. Shout out to our King of the Controls today, Joey, back from Italia. Thank you, Bulls Nation, for hanging out with us. Thanks for the chats, the likes. Appreciate y'all. Have a great Monday night. We will talk to you draft night. See Red be good.
Jonathan Taves.
Brian and Megan, congrats. Peace. Much love, y'all.
We all silly like the mayor.